Hello, friends. I hope you're all doing well. In today's class, we're going to create a procedural sand material in Blender. So without wasting any time, let's jump into today's lesson. As you can see, I've added a ground material to this part, and this material is completely white with just a principled BSDF shader and nothing else. So first I'm going to select the BSDF shader, but before that, make sure you go to Edit, then Preferences, and under Add-ons, ensure that the Node Wrangler add-on is enabled. After that, we'll select the Principled BSDF, press Ctrl-T to add the texture coordinates. We'll delete the image texture and replace it with a wave texture. Next, I'll connect the vector to it, and then I'll connect the color output to the base color. You'll notice that the UV is currently connected to the vector, but since we haven't unwrapped the object, I'll replace the UV with the generated output for the vector. Now you'll see that on our object, which previously just had a white material, we now have a black and white pattern appearing. Next, I'll adjust the distortion value, and you'll see that as I change the distortion, the pattern becomes more distorted. There's also a detail option below, and if I increase the detail, you'll notice that the pattern gains some noise and becomes more intricate. If I lower the detail, we'll just see the simple black and white lines. By increasing the detail, we add more noise and complexity to the pattern. There's also a detail roughness option that you can adjust if you want, but I'll just keep it at its default value. After that, I'll add a color ramp, and once I connect it, you'll notice that there's no immediate change. This is because the original wave texture was already black and white, and the color ramp we've added is also set to black and white, so there's no visible difference yet. However, as soon as we start changing the colors, for example, if I select the black color and use the eyedropper tool to pick a new shade, you'll see that all the areas that were black will now change to that new color. I can adjust the color slightly and then copy it by hovering over it and pressing Ctrl-C. Then I'll click on the white color and paste the copied color by pressing Ctrl-V, so now both ends of the ramp have the same color. If I tweak the color a bit more, you'll notice the result gives an illusion of height and depth because of the pattern and color variation. However, we haven't actually added any height or normal map yet, so this illusion is purely visual. To add actual height or normal detail, I'll duplicate this color ramp and either reset it back to black and white or simply create a new color ramp to use for the height map. I'll create a new bump node and connect its normal output to the normal input of the shader. Then, I'll take the color output from the wave texture and connect it to the factor input of this color ramp. Now, you'll see that we've added some height detail, but it might be a bit too strong because the bump node's strength is quite high. I'll reduce the strength and also the distance values to adjust it to a more subtle level. You can fine-tune these values to your liking, and once it looks good, you'll notice that the height effect is more realistic. However, you might see that in some areas the color appears too flat, and we want to add a bit more detail to represent sand particles. To achieve that, we'll create a new noise texture. After adding the noise texture, I'll temporarily connect it directly to the shader so we can see the result clearly. Initially, the noise might look too large in scale, so I'll increase the scale value to something higher like 100 and possibly even more like 500 so that the noise can represent tiny sand particles. I'll adjust the scaling to around 600 to get the desired level of detail. After that, I'll add a mix shader node and I'll connect the noise texture to one input and the wave texture to the other input. Then I'll connect the output of this mix shader to the first color ramp that we set up for the colors. You'll notice that the noise is now blended in, and by adjusting the factor value, we can control how much of the noise and how much of the wave pattern we see. Once we've got that looking good, I'll also connect this to the normal map so that the noise detail appears in the bump mapping as well. This way, the sand particles look more realistic. If the noise looks too shiny, I'll increase the roughness value so that it looks more like real sand. Finally, if the wave pattern seems too weak or too strong, we can fine-tune the factor value until we get the perfect balance between the wave pattern and the noise detail. So as you can see, we've managed to create this procedural sand material using really simple and straightforward steps. I hope everything I explained in today's class made sense to you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask in the comment section. I'll see you in the next class. Until then, take care and goodbye.